let's start having a conversation, y'all. Okay, let's start having a conversation. I'm going to grab my email and I'm just going to be very specific on what was sent to me, and then this right here will give you the idea for the topic. I actually got this email this morning, and I all the time, I literally kid you not, I pick the topic on the day of. I don't like to do it a week before. I like to either look at some of the latest, greatest news that's out there, but I like the topics to be kind of in time, right? Kind of being in the moment is what I love, right? And here's the deal. Here's the email that I received, right? Again, I'm taking names out, so let's not worry about names whatsoever. But my manager asked that I help run our daily scrums with the developers, okay? And I've been doing some research online to figure out what makes an effective scrum, daily scrum. Everything I see says to ask three things. Basically, what work was completed since the last meeting, what tasks are for today, and are there any issues, okay? And then it says these questions seem like they'd cause the meeting to turn into a status, right? Do I recommend those? Okay, now, I'm just going to step back for a moment, right? Now, here's the deal. Is that the way that the daily scrum has been conducted for years? Yes. Where you come in and you basically provide the more formal three questions I'm going to throw up on the screen to you. So this is going to be almost like class. We're going to jump back and forth to a couple things. I just want you to just see this stuff so we're on the same page. So realistically, and when I do my CSM class, I still show those three questions just as an example for what people have done in the past and what people could do, but I don't recommend to utilize that. So let me grab that for you all real quick, because that's going to be something that's going to be helpful for you. So, it's not there, it's not there. I'm grabbing it, it's right here. So it's these three questions, right? What did I do since the last daily scrum that helped the devs meet the sprint goal? What will I do until the next daily scrum to help the devs meet the sprint goal? And do I see any impediments that prevents me or the devs from meeting the sprint goal? Now, I want to really say to you, if I were you, I'd use these questions over the questions that you sent me. And let's do a comparison, and let me talk to you about these questions, right? The first question was, what work was completed since the last meeting? Well, I don't really care about what work was completed. I really care about what was completed that would get us closer to meeting the sprint goal. Remember that every single sprint is supposed to have a sprint goal. The sprint goal is the objective that we're trying to achieve for the actual sprint. And when we have sprint planning, the very first topic is to talk about the why. And as we're talking about the why, that's where we craft the actual Scrum goal. Product owner, developers craft the Scrum goal, right? And so we should be in all of our activities working toward the Scrum goal. So when you got a question that says, what work was completed since the last daily Scrum? That could be anything. That could be anything. So the first statement is, if you're going to use three questions, use these three questions, because all three of them are focused on the sprint goal. Does that make sense? Now, this is really relevant as of the Scrum Guide 2017. So every couple years, Ken Schwaber and Jeff Sutherland update the Scrum Guide, have lots of conversations with people, what's working, what's not working, and they update the Scrum Guide, right? So in December 2020, things changed. And they changed for a good reason, because it's always been a frustration of mine. As a Scrum Master, in the past, I would go to the daily Scrum and mostly just stand there. Because the daily Scrum is supposed to be about the developers synchronizing. It's supposed to be about the developers synchronizing. Okay? Now, if the developers are going to synchronize, that's a great thing because them synchronizing around the sprint goal is what they should be doing. Not just saying what tasks they need to work on or any willy-nilly tasks that they've worked on in the past. Our objective collectively is to meet the sprint goal. So if you're going to have the 3 questions, make them focused on the sprint goal. This is what the Scrum Guide said in 2017. Now, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to double check that just to make sure because that's what I remember it saying. However, December 2020, an updated version of the Scrum Guide was presented. And I would love to just show you that because I use that as my guideline and the updates that it classically has, I agree with because it's classically things I've already done. So let's talk about it. Here is the portion of the Scrum Guide that we're really talking about here. It says, the purpose of the daily Scrum is to do what? Inspect progress. It is to inspect progress toward the sprint goal. That's its purpose. And adapt the sprint backlog as necessary, adjusting any upcoming work. So first problem with the 3 questions that you sent me is they're not focused on the sprint goal. See, one of the things about having a sprint goal is a sprint goal gives the developers more reason to collaborate because they all are working toward one objective. And we want our developers to be working toward one objective collectively, right? That they agreed upon in sprint planning, and we call that a sprint goal. So it makes no sense that you're not talking about the sprint goal if you're going to have those 3 questions. I don't mind the 3 questions. If you want to do that, so be it. There's no Scrum police that's going to come get you. It's not going to happen. Okay? But that was 2017. I always try to skip out on my daily scrums as a Scrum Master because once I realized my team got it, I wanted them to synchronize and not do what? Report to me. Do you understand? I guarantee you, for most of you all that's presenting those 3 questions, everybody's standing around and they're hyper-focused on you. And with them being hyper-focused on you, guess what they're doing? Hey, good old Scrum Master, we really want to show you how great we are and the work that we're doing because we know you got to go report to people so we don't get in trouble. Sir or madam. Do you understand where I'm coming from? But that's not it, right? That's not it. Because we talk about this a little bit more, right? You know that it's 15 minutes, right? It says the daily scrum is 15 minutes, da-da-da-da-da. It's there to reduce complexity, da-da-da-da-da. If the product owner and Scrum Master are actively working on items, then they participate as developers. Whoa, wait a minute. Did you hear what that just said? Only the developers need to be there. Let's try this one more time. The Scrum Master doesn't need to be at the daily Scrum, nor does the product owner, unless they're actively working on things as a sprint and then they actively participate. They actively participate at that point. So who is the daily Scrum really focused on? The daily Scrum is focused on the developers, people. It is about the developers synchronizing their work. When I say, hey, Helena, here's where I've been so far. Helena should be doing this. Hey, you know what? I'm going to synchronize my work based on where he's been. And when I say, hey, Helena, here's where I'm going, then she should be saying, I'm going to synchronize my work based on where he's going. Not just, I completed this task and I'm 50% done on this task. And you know what? I'm going to work on this task tomorrow. Okay. No, the question is, how are we progressing toward the sprint goal? And what do we need to adjust to make sure we get there? So you want the developers to synchronize. And here's the deal. As I clearly state in my classes again and again, I can teach a bunch of fifth graders how to play duck, duck, goose, how to play tag, you're it, how to play red light, green light, if you need a little more ghetto game. Okay? I can teach any little kid to play those games. And once I teach them, do I have to be there to manage them? Think about this for a second. You got a bunch of adults that you paid a lot of money to do work for. And guess what? You got to sit up there and manage them, babysit them like they can't conduct a little video, 15-minute meeting? Come on, man. Come on, man. Do we not understand? So, the Scrum Master doesn't need to be there. Product owner doesn't need to be there. But let's continue this journey, right? Because I'm not done. I'm not done. Because here's the deal, right? Let's continue this. This next paragraph says something really simple. The developers, hear me, the developers can select whatever structure and techniques they want, as long as the daily Scrum focuses on progress toward the goal and produces an actionable plan for the next day of work. Whoa! 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 Did you see that? That was written down by the co-creators of Scrum? That I agree with 1,000%. I've been agreeing with since 2008. When I would make sure, when I started having daily Scrums, I find ways to disappear from the team because they kept looking in my face like, Devon, we need to report to you. No, you don't. You need to make sure that y'all are good. And if y'all good, I'm good. So when I say that daily Scrum, the daily Scrum serves a purpose. The daily Scrum is there to improve communications, identify impediments, promote quick decision making, and eliminate the need for other meetings. You know what? When you turn this into that status meeting, guess what your developers haven't done? Your developers haven't synchronized. And now since your developers haven't synchronized, guess what they gotta have? Another meeting. Another meeting to replace the meeting where they should be able to synchronize. Whole problem. Whole problem is what it is. Whole problem. And most of your managers are probably a little bit scared to let your developers go ahead and do and be great. You're paying them money, they're adults. Why can't you let them conduct a 15-minute meeting by themselves where they understand the work that they're doing and understand what their colleagues are doing along the way? I don't know why that is so difficult and why that is such a problem. But as of the 2020 Scrum Guide, December 2020, it has been officially stated that the Scrum Master nor the product owner really needs to be there. And it's because the developers are grown people and they actually can conduct this meeting without anybody's help. And what I find is when I get out the way and let them conduct the meeting, it gets shorter and it gets to be more productive. So, for the person that sent me that email, I hope this answers your question, because, you know, it is going to be something that we're going to be fighting about for the next, I don't know how long. You know, ever since I've been around Scrum, and I've been around Scrum since 2005, there's always been, the daily Scrum's been about 3 questions. Always. We've tweaked those 3 questions over time, and they've gotten better, no question. But I've always found it better that regardless of the format, I let the devs pick the format. I let them synchronize around the work that they're working on, and I just get the heck up out of the way. And really just say to them, look, man, you know, oh, here's the next problem y'all gonna mention. Somebody's gonna say this silliness to me, I guarantee you. But they're gonna say to me this, right? They're gonna say to me, Devon, but what happens with the impediments? How are we gonna find out the impediments? Man, you got 23 hours and 45 minutes during the rest of the day. You mean you can't talk to your developers during that other 23 hours and 45 minutes? I mean, nothing really goes wrong during the daily Scrum. Nothing goes wrong during the daily Scrum. It happens during the 23 hours and 45 minutes. That's when it happens. So when they have a problem, guess what I want the dads to do? Come grab me and talk to me about it, man. I ain't scared of you. Anyway, hopefully y'all understand that.